divine souls. We'll continue with doha number 25 tonight of the Bhakti Shatak. In this doha and the ones that follow it, we learn in more depth about the path to God. There were some previous dohas that taught about karma, gyan, yoga, bhakti. This goes into more detail and specifically with respect to the three forms that Shri Krishna takes that we learned about yesterday: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So the first doha tells that the path for attaining Brahma is the path of Gyan. The path for attaining Paramatma is the path of Yoga. And the path for attaining Bhagwan is the path of Bhakti. Radhe 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 ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग। कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग। राधे राधे अधिकारी सब लोग। प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग। कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ ब्रह्म प्राप्ति पथ ज्ञान है, परमात्मा पथ योग। कृष्ण प्राप्ति पथ भक्ति है, अधिकारी सब लोग। राधे राधे अधिकारी सब लोग राधे 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 These three paths, Gyan, Yoga, and Bhakti, each have their own level that you have to be at in order to gain entrance to the path. So entrance requirements, just like to go into any school. If you want to study at a second grade level, then you have to have something showing that you've passed first grade. If you want to study in university, you have to show them your SAT scores. If you want to study at the master's degree level, you have to show them a diploma from some university in that subject. For the path of Gyan, the path of Yoga, and the path of Bhakti, there are entrance qualifications. For the path of Bhakti, prani matra. You just have to be alive. Technically, you have to be in a human body. Only humans can do devotion and purify their heart. There's no requirement of level of intelligence, level of renunciation, any kind of ability. There's no such requirement for the path of Bhakti. But the path of Gyan and the path of Yoga have very difficult entrance requirements. Nirvinnanam Jnana Yoga. The Bhagavatam says that to gain entrance to the path of Gyan, you have to be totally nirvinna, purna nirvinna. It means completely renounced from the world. Think about that. Out of 7 billion people, would there even be 700 who can even meet this simple qualification for the path of Gyan? In the path of Bhakti, you don't start from a high level of renunciation. You may, okay, it's fine. Na nirvinno nati sakto bhakti yogasya siddhida. Bhagavatam says on the path of Bhakti, you don't have to be renounced. Don't be too attached. Somewhere in the middle, that's all of us. All of us get enough suffering from this world that we don't have 100% faith in finding happiness in the world. We're open to some other possibilities, like maybe happiness is in God. We'll at least consider that. So we're not completely attached in the world, and we're not nirvinna, we're not completely detached, so we're qualified for the path of Bhakti. But both Gyan and Yoga require Total renunciation and total commitment, time commitment. I've personally met quite a few people who are living in New York City who say they're following the path of Gyan. Impossible. You have to be in the jungle, in a cave somewhere, in an ashram somewhere. You can't be involved in family life. You can't have a job. It's your full-time job just following the path of Gyan. Sitting and practicing your samadhi all day long. That's it. So there's no, oh yeah, I work 9 to 5 and I follow the path of Gyan. It doesn't work that way. You have to be both physically renounced from the world and mentally renounced. The path of bhakti allows for both cases. You could be living in isolation somewhere, you could be working 9 to 5, or you could be working 80-hour weeks. You can still qualify for the path of bhakti. Yoga also requires a great time commitment. Total time commitment. If you're following the path of Ashtanga Yoga, that is your full-time job, that is your life. You don't have kids to look after, you're not married, you're not working, you're only doing that. So the yoga that people practice nowadays, and there are hundreds of yoga studios just in New York City alone, if not over 1,000. We do that for health, for exercise, but it's not the path of yoga. The path of Gyan leads to the attainment of Nirakar Brahm. The path of yoga leads to the attainment of Paramatma. Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Kleshodhikatarastesha mavyakta sakta chetasam avyakta higatir dukham dehavad bhiravapyate. It's extremely difficult. There's an extreme level of klesh, difficulty, on the path that leads to his avyakt form. Avyakt meaning Nirakar Brahm. So this is not a path which is accessible to everybody. It's a very difficult path to qualify for, let alone follow. We'll learn in the next doha that even though you may qualify for the path of Gyan, in the end you have to do bhakti to reach there, or you will fall. To even reach the goal of attaining Nirakar Brahm, the one following the path of Gyan, in the end has to do bhakti. Along the way, also think, let's say someone qualifies for the path of Gyan. Then Tulsidas ji says, Kahat kathin samujhat kathin sadhan kathin vivek. Let's say you're totally renounced from the world, so you're qualified for the path of Gyan. You have control over your mind. No desires, no attachments, no unwanted thoughts or emotions. Okay, you're ready for the path of Gyan. So what will your Guruji on the path of Gyan teach you? Guruji ke liye bhi kahat kathin. Unka batana bhi bada mushkil hai. How is he going to explain to you the practice on the path of Gyan? Because the practice is meditating on Nirakar Brahm. We talk of doing Rup Dhyan here, meditate on the form of Shri Krishna. Even a child can do that. Anyone who's seen a painting of Shri Krishna or a murti or heard a description can do it. But who can meditate on Nirakar Brahm? And how is Guruji going to explain it to you? He doesn't have a name. Na naam hai, na roop hai, na gun hai, na dham hai, na koi leela hai, na koi jan hai. According to Mandukya Upanishad, adrishtam avyavaharyam agrahyam alakshanam achintyam avyapadeshyam ekatma pratyayasaram prapanchopashamam shantam shivam advaitam. He can't be seen, he can't be conceived of in the mind. He has no lakshana, Lakshana means qualities or characteristics. He can't be related to in any way. He cannot be grasped by your senses. Now meditate on him. What do I meditate on, Guruji? Is there a form I should think of? No, he has no form. Okay, is there a name we can? No, he has no name. What about Brahm? No, that's not his name. That's just a word we use to indicate. So what do I meditate on again? Samujhat kathin. Samjhana bada mushkil hai, samajhna bada mushkil hai. That's why the qualification is so high, to even be able to hear this explanation and then try to meditate on formless God. All of us sitting here, if we went to any true Guruji of the path of Gyan, we would sit before him and say, Guruji, batao, Brahma kya hai? What is this Nirakar Brahm and how do I meditate on him? He'll say, Jao, tum adhikari nahi ho. He wouldn't, none of us sitting here, he wouldn't teach a single one of us. He'd say, none of you are qualified to hear this. None of you is qualified to meditate on Nirakar Brahm. There's a famous story of Shankaracharya, who had a learned, very religious man come to him asking to be initiated into this path of meditation on formless God, the path of Gyan. So as he was approaching, Jagadguru Shankaracharya knew that this man was coming and why he was coming, because he's Antaryami. So he told one of the devotees outside who was doing seva, sweeping outside the ashram, that this man is coming, and when he comes close, I want you to sweep some dust on him when he passes by. Because I want him to realize that his heart is still impure. He's got anger. He lacks humbleness. So he came, that lady who was sweeping, when he was walking nearby, swept enough that it went into his feet and his legs, and he growled at her. Can't you see I'm walking here? What do you think you're doing? And then he continued into the ashram and said, Guruji, I've come to learn the path of Gyan. Please accept me as your disciple. So Jagadguru Shankaracharya said, no, you're not qualified. The one who's qualified for the path of Gyan has a clean heart, no desires, no anger, none of that. So you go and do parikrama of Govardhan Hill, chant Radhe Govind for a whole year, just eat whatever you get by begging food, and come back after 1 year. So he came back, having followed his instructions, and certainly his heart was more pure, but still not pure enough. He again told that devotee that this man is coming back again. This time, I want you to actually sweep the dirt onto him and even touch him with the broom. So she did. And this time he had more control, but he still grumbled at her and then realized, oh, what did I do? And then went inside. Guruji, I'm ready. No, you're not. Go do bhakti again for a whole year. Do parikrama of Govardhan Hill, chanting Radhe Govind. Pray to Krishna to purify your heart. So he did. He returned after another year. And this time Shankaracharya told that devotee who was sweeping outside that this year it's not going to be enough just to touch him with the broom. I want you to take the whole dustbin and empty it on his head when he passes by. So on he comes. As he draws even with her, she picks it up, dumps it on his head, and this time he fell at her feet and clutched her feet and said, Ma, you are my true guru. Then he went inside and Shankaracharya said, now you're ready for the path of Gyan. So if we're not ready, no actual guru of the path of Gyan is going to teach us. So you can judge for yourself how many people are out there today teaching the path of Gyan, Advait, Vedant, to the masses. people like us who are unqualified to even hear the first teaching. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. We're not even qualified to hear that teaching. So the path of Gyan is difficult to qualify for, and it's very difficult to follow because you have to maintain that state of renunciation. No fun on the path of Gyan. No diversions, no distractions, no comforts, no conveniences. Live an extremely simple life. No entertainments. Just listen to Guruji, practice what he teaches, go into samadhi, keep practicing your samadhi until your heart is 100% pure. Then you'll reach the state of self-realization, which is described in the next doha, where we also learn that that's not the end for the jnani. Self-realization, or atma-gyan, is only a stage. He has to go beyond that stage. It's the same for the yogi. The yogi uses, practicing asana or pranayam, that's only part of the path of yoga. That's to help discipline the mind and bring the body into a state of health which will allow him or her to sit for long periods of time in samadhi. The point of yoga is to get into samadhi as well, same as on the path of Gyan. So the yogi also has to maintain great discipline in his behavior, practice all the asanas, all the pranayam, no enjoyments, listen to the philosophy, meditate on it, enter into samadhi. Then he can know his own self. He becomes established in his own self, but he still can't know God. The path of yoga and the path of Gyan have a ceiling. And that ceiling is before you get to knowing God or attaining God. It's just at the level of knowing yourself. So to go beyond that, you have to practice bhakti. And this is described in the next doha. Radhe 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 ज्ञानी अरु योगी लहें निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भूलान राधे राधे माया माही भूलान निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं माया माही भूलान राधे राधे ज्ञानी अरु योगी लहें निज स्वरूप को ज्ञान हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं, माया माही भूलान। राधे राधे माया माही भूलान। हरि स्वरूप जाने नहीं, माया माही भूलान। राधे 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 राधे। ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन, कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तब पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान। राधे राधे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान। ज्ञानी अरु योगी जब कृष्ण भक्ति उर आन, कृष्ण कृपा ते ही तब पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान। राधे राधे पावे ब्रह्म ज्ञान। राधे 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 राधे। both the path of Gyan and the path of Yoga require total renunciation even to begin, and of course that has to be maintained throughout. If it's not, if the Jnani or the Yogi starts to get interested in worldly entertainments, then they fall from their path. So it's very difficult to maintain that kind of renunciation, and that too without surrendering to God. If the Jnani or Yogi is not doing bhakti, it means they're not surrendering to a personal form of God. They're not surrendering to Bhagwan. So they're not receiving God's grace. So they're not getting help, you can say. They're doing whatever they do on their own, which is very impressive. It's amazing. But how many of them can make it all the way? It actually takes many lifetimes. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam. In the Gita, Shri Krishna says, it's very rare for someone to even try to know me through the path of Gyan. Even then, Bahuni Janmanantaram, after many, many lifetimes of practicing the path of Gyan or Yoga, someone reaches the state of total heart purification. So how many people who qualify actually succeed in reaching that? Very few, a very small percentage. A lot of them, ye nyera vindaksha vimuktamani nastvai astabhavad vishuddha buddhaya aruhya krichrena param padam tatah patantyadhonadrita yushmadangraya. The Bhagavatam says, quoting Brahma, that never mind someone part way along the path of Gyan or Yoga, the one who has reached Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam, the topmost siri, like, you know, some mandirs you go to, like Radharani Mandir in Barsana, Shree Mandir, there's hundreds of steps to get to the top. So you have to keep going up. If you take a few steps and then fall back down, then you have to start again, right? That's what the Jnani does if he falls from his path. God isn't holding him up. If you make it all the way to the top step and then you fall, again you come all the way down. Generally, when you fall down the stairs, when do you stop? When you reach the bottom, right? So then you start again. Even if the Jnani reached the top step, but he doesn't take the final step of surrendering to God, asking for His grace. Only with your grace I can know you. Only with your grace I can get liberation from Maya. If he doesn't do that, then he's still under Maya. And he falls. Tata patanti. He falls down. So anywhere along the way, if the Jnani falters, he falls down, and even if he reaches the topmost stage, which is actually called Atmagyan, he knows himself. Here it's stated, Nija Swarupa Ko Gyan. He knows, I am the soul. I'm not this body. He understands that fully. Experiential Gyan, not just theoretical Gyan. Right now we have theoretical Gyan. Ask anybody here in this room, who are you? They'll tell you, I'm a Jeev, Jivatma. I am not this body. We have theoretical Gyan, but we don't have experiential because none of us actually experiences that on a deep level. That's why we all fear death. That's why we're all insulted if someone tells us we're ugly. Our body doesn't look in some kind of nice way according to how it should. If anyone insults our body, we'll be depressed. Why? Because we believe we're the body. We have the theoretical knowledge we're the soul, but we actually live in body consciousness. So this jnani or yogi has reached that stage where they live in the consciousness where they understand, I am the soul. And yet, because they haven't surrendered to God, so they're still under Maya. Shri Krishna refers to this state as Brahma Bhutavastha in the Gita. He says, even having reached that state, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. Na shochati, he has no worries. Na kankshati, doesn't desire for anything. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu, he looks at all beings the same. None is his enemy. None is dear to him. They're all just souls like him. Then what? Mad bhaktim labhate param. Then he has to do bhakti to me. He reached this far on his own, but that's it. He got Atmagyan, but as an Atmagyani, you're still under Maya. If you die, you'll be reborn. You're still under Maya and you don't have Brahmagyan. You don't know God. So you have knowledge of the Ansh. You don't have knowledge of the Anshi. How to get that? Mad bhaktim labhate param. So he says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. Bhaktya, through bhakti, mam abhijanati. Then he knows me in full. Through bhakti. So we do bhakti to get his grace. With his grace, we can know him. Without his grace, no one can know him. Soi janai jehi dehu janai. Ramayana says, Oh Bhagwan Ram, you are known by the one to whom you make yourself known. In other words, we surrender, you grace, then we can know you. So knowing God is called Brahmagyan, and that only happens through his grace, which is only received through bhakti to Sakar Brahm. Meaning Shri Krishna gives grace, or any of his forms. But as you learned yesterday, does Nirakar Brahm grace? No. Nirakar Brahm has no idea if you're meditating on him, surrendering to him or not, because he's also in that dormant state. All of his powers are dormant. So as Nirakar Brahm, Shri Krishna doesn't do anything, including grace souls. So the Jnani, although he's meditating on Nirakar Brahm, he has to surrender to Shri Krishna in his personal form in order to get the benefit of his grace. And through his grace, then he knows him. Then he gets Brahmagyan, and then he's liberated from Maya. And if he doesn't, then what happens? No one stays in the same place. He's as high as he can go. So if he doesn't take the final step, eventually, he's still got a material mind. So what is your material mind going to do eventually? It's going to turn towards the material world. So he tried with so much effort to take it away from the material world, but it's like pumping water uphill. If you're pumping the water uphill, you need a good pump. And it keeps pumping the water. If the pump breaks down even for a second, what happens? The water starts coming back down the hill. So the path of Gyan is like trying to pump water back up the hill. The path of Bhakti is like taking the water that's running down the hill and just diverting it. You dig a deeper channel next to the channel that water's following, it'll follow the deeper channel. In other words, on the path of bhakti, you keep your desires, but you divert those desires towards God. You want love? Love Shri Krishna. You want beauty? Desire to see the form of Shri Krishna. All the desires you have in this world, divert them towards him. So your mind doesn't have to be stopped on the path of bhakti. It just keep that energy of the mind and that motion of the mind that it's always running after happiness, okay, and just divert it. Dig a deeper channel towards Shri Krishna. And the path of Gyan says, no, stop. No desires on this path whatsoever. Pump the water back uphill. So even if he reaches the state of Atma Gyan, because he's got a material mind, so what does that mind want to do? Eventually it wants to start running again. And if he doesn't surrender it to God, it's going to run back into the world and he'll fall from his state of Atma Gyan. So this is why bhakti is a necessity for everybody. Even someone following the path of Gyan or Yoga has to take refuge in the path of bhakti in the end. So this is described in the dohas that we've just sung. In the next doha, Shree Kripalu Maharaj describes one more very important thing, that even after surrendering to God to get His grace, having received that grace, he's free from Maya, he merges into Nirakar Brahm, so he's got his final attainment now. Even then, those jnanis and yogis who have attained God in this way, the formless bliss of God, if they are given a chance to experience the bliss of Shri Krishna and his Leelas, then their mind abandons that experience of formless God and immerses itself, drowns itself in the bliss of Shri Krishna, his virtues, his form, his Leelas. So it shows that even though Shri Krishna himself is Brahm, but there's something very special in the personal form of Shri Krishna, which is even proven by those Jnani saints who have already experienced formless God, and they abandon that so that they can experience and drown themselves in the bliss of the personal form of God. So the next doha explains this. Tomorrow I'll give you some actual historical examples where this happened, where someone who had experienced Nirakar Brahm later decided or even it just happened. They met Shri Krishna and they abandoned the bliss of Nirakar Brahm and experienced Premanand. Bolo Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai.